Hello from Mountain Patriot Homestead. Today we're going to be putting this 6-pound chub of bologna on our smoker and smoking it 2 or 3 hours. Remember, bologna is already cooked, so it's not like it's got to spend hours and hours and hours out on the smoker, because we just want it to heat up and get a good crust, crispness on the outside and still be all tender and good on the inside. I was going to show you how I actually crisscross. I'm sure there's a fancier word for that in chef speak than crisscross, but I was going to show you how I actually score the outer layer of this bologna, but I have not figured out yet how to cut and hold a piece of meat and a camera and do all these things at the same time. I'm just not that talented and don't have that many hands. But anyway, if you can see here, I have scored the outer edge of this in a diamond pattern, just crossways here and then back the other way. And that is so as it cooks, this will kind of open up and the seasoning will get down into those layers of meat and just make it that much better. Now, speaking of seasoning, I have a conglomeration over here, and I'll tell you right now, I never use the same thing twice. So when you make yours, season your food how you like it. Experiment. Like I said, I've never cooked the same thing twice in the same way. So do what suits you. I'll tell you that today, some of the things that I'm using, and in no particular order or in, don't have any exact amounts. I eyeball most of my stuff unless I'm baking, and then that requires a little bit more of a exact science. But today I'm using tomato powder. Now, if you're wondering where I get my tomato powder, I get it from my tomatoes out of my garden. I dehydrate a lot of my tomatoes because you can fit dehydrated tomatoes in a lot smaller space than you can put just whole canned tomatoes or even crushed canned tomatoes. And I use this powder in a lot of different recipes, soups, stews, chilies, just about anything. Dry rubs, that's what I'm using today. You can use a wet rub on this bologna, but I use dry. And I apologize to all of you that are cringing every time I say bologna. I can say bologna, but it sounds very strange to me and just does not roll off my tongue that well. So excuse me for all of you that know that I'm terribly mispronouncing it. I'm just a Southern girl and that's the way it comes out. So I've got tomato powder in here is what I'm using today. Got some onion and garlic powder. Now, I do have whole garlic that I grow, and I do have onion. You could make some slits in the bologna a little bit deeper and insert cloves or slivers of garlic into the meat. That would be fine too. I've done that with roast and that sort of thing before. I've not done it with bologna, but I do know that you can. I believe that Kent Rollins on his channel, his cooking channel, he does that. So if you're interested, you might go over and check out his YouTube channel. He's got some wonderful recipes. Love watching him. He's just a great fella. Now back to this. So I've got the tomato powder in there. I've got the garlic and onion powder in there. This, just some, I use the pink Himalayan salt for cooking most of the time. And I've got cracked black pepper. And these red peppers down here at the bottom are some that I grew in my garden. They're called cowhorn peppers. They're hot peppers, but wow, they are so good. So good to use in recipes. So I dehydrated and crushed them, and I enjoy using them in a lot of my recipes. Now in mine, this last ingredient, since this is a dry rub, and this adds I say a little sweetness. Looks like it adds a whole lot of sweetness. This is just some brown sugar, some light brown sugar, and I just stir all that together. Like I said, you put in yours the things that you like. If you like lemon pepper, by all means, you put lemon pepper in there. If you like, I don't know, some people like using instant coffee on some of their grilled items. I have not tried that in this. Probably would be good. I'm sorry, people. My hands are clean. I swear I washed my hands before I started all this, and it's going to take me a day to try to stir that up with a spoon. Besides, I can't put it on the meat with a spoon anyway, so may as well go ahead and get into it while I can. So this just all gets mixed up together. Back to what I was saying about use your seasonings. It's a piece of bologna. You can use smaller bologna if you want to, and try it out that way with your seasonings. This whole chub of bologna, it has went up. I believe I paid $1.39 a pound for it. Don't remember what it used to be, but I know it wasn't that. It wasn't $1.39 a pound, but regardless, that's still a lot cheaper than a lot of the other meats that you can get. And this was, or I guess still is, all beef bologna. So you just use what you like. Now what I do is I just come in here, and of course this is not a neat process, and that's why I've got this baking sheet under it, because I'll put it on there and most of it's going to go back off of it anyway, but I can roll it around until I get it where I want it. And that just, you know, it's not an exact science. It's not rocket science. So you just get it on there the best you can. Like I said, it's going to fall off. You just keep patting it on there. And if you need to let it set for a little bit so it sticks better, by all means, whatever works, okay? Don't get stressed when you're trying to cook things. You're not watching Hell's Kitchen or anything like that. This is your kitchen. You do what you need to do. And if people don't like it, well, you know, just don't invite them over to eat next time, okay? That sounded mean, didn't it? But, you know. Again, your kitchen, your rules. You do what you need to do. Okay? So, anyway, I am just patting this on there. You can see it's not hard. It's kind of messy. If you've got a manicure, which I do not, spend way too much time in the garden and tending to critters to have a manicure. Mine don't stay manicured long, so I don't see wasting the money to do it if I'm gonna stay looking like I've been digging coal with my fingernails. So, all right. So again, just keep doing this and keep the camera on what I'm trying to do. But just keep doing this until you get it coated like you like. When you go to transfer it out onto your grill, you may lose a little bit. Oh, well, there ain't no may. You will lose a little bit, but hey, you just, if you need to pat some more back on there, you just go right on ahead. You may have some extra left over. That's okay too, because you can come back later as it cooks and sprinkle some more on there if you'd like. But you can just see this meat leaves a nice coating. As the bologna cooks, the meat where I've cut those slits will kind of open up, and that brown sugar will start melting and go into those slits and carry the rest of those seasonings with it. So that's one reason why I like to use brown sugar. If you're trying to cut down on sugar intake, or you can't have it for some health reason, by all means leave that out. I don't want anybody jeopardizing their health for my purposes. So you do what you do, you boo. Okay. All right. So I think I've made a big enough mess there. So I am going to leave that as it is, and then next I will get you to join me at the grill. All right, and here we go. I have got the bologna chub out on the smoker, and it's going to just live here for the next 2 to 3 hours until I like the looks of it, and then I'll bring you back to show you what it looks like when we're done. All right, friends, we're back. It's been 3 hours at 225 out on the smoker, and here is what it looks like. I've cut into it. Now, if you would like for it to stay out and smoke longer, you always can. We're kind of hungry. We've been outside working on a chicken house, and so we're hungry and it's warm. Now, what we will do, of course, we can't eat all of this right now, and I'm not sure how healthy it would be if we did. But what we will do is we will have some of this for lunch, but probably for supper, we will come back and we will chunk this up. And I don't know if in your area, if you've heard of burnt ends, if you've visited a barbecue place, you can always ask for burnt ends. It's just usually the ends of a piece of brisket or something that are really good. They're usually moist on the inside and a little charred on the out. It may not sound very tasty to some of you, but the meat's really good that way. And we make a form of burnt ends by chunking up this bologna, throwing some barbecue sauce on it, and grilling it a little more. And it turns out fantastically. I may post a little short later just showing you what it looks like once you've done that. But for right now, we are going to sit down and have us something to eat before we go back outside and go back to work. But I'm glad that you joined us, and thank y'all. Love y'all.